It is 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Utility Service Board meeting, regularly scheduled for Monday night at 5 p.m. The first order of business is call to order, which just happened. Second, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any questions about the previous minutes? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next up, we have approval of the claims. We have 4 different claims this evening. The first one, standard invoices for $1,666,584.40. Do we have any questions about the claims? No questions about the claims. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
All in favor of approving the standard invoices, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next up, utility bills totaling $189,893.23. Any questions about utility bills? We have a motion for approval.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next up, wire transfers totaling $475,996.87. Do we have any questions about the wire transfers? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And finally, customer refunds totaling $5,216.10. Any questions on the customer refunds? Yes, Amanda.
I actually have 2 questions. The first one is the deposit refund on valve actuators, which I don't know what those are. I'm just kind of curious. And then the second one, it was on the hydrant meter refund, or the 2 that were on there. Are we still loaning out hydrant meters, or are we? I know we're in the process of getting everybody to start using the water stations. So is this just kind of old stuff, or we're not using that yet?
Missy, or the one that was in the customer refunds, was that one of the old hydrant meters?
I honestly don't know.
Okay, we'll have to look into that. We do have we've been working on the hydrant meter program, and we have what we think is a really good solution. Basically, that's probably better for staff reports, I guess, than now, but I can talk about it now. We have the water station. People can buy water at the water station, but the hydrant meters, historically, they disappear, they get lost, or they get broken, or they get dropped, or whatnot, and we've had trouble getting regular readings from the customers. What we're doing now is we have 2 different models. You can either mount it on your truck, and it has an MXU that talks to our AMI network, so we can bill you monthly. So if you're going to be mobile and going to multiple hydrants, then we can mount it to your truck. The other is we fabricated a steel box that has a hydrant meter inside it that gets mounted on one of the small ears of a hydrant and is actually mounted there and bolted to it and locked. So the customer unlocks a padlock, then they can open the meter with a key. They can open the meter and use it, and then close it again. And again, it's also got an MXU, so it's talking to the AMI network. So this is our new model for hydrant meters that we've been working on for several months now.
So these refunds are now based on this new system, or these are ones that they've now?
We're not sure.
Okay.
We're looking into it, but yeah, they may be refunds for the returns of old ones, I would think. But yeah, that's what.
So are people still able to take out those?
They were until recently.
Until recently. Okay, so they're no longer. So they're no longer allowed to do that.
That we're not renting them that way.
Okay, and then what are the valve actuators?
Valve actuators do we rent those, or, yeah, it's a mechanical device that opens or closes a valve. So when we have buried valves, you can open or close them with an.
And those will be, those are continued to be,
Yeah, we continue to rent those.
all right, thank you.
Other questions on customer refunds? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved?
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, next up, we have the consent agenda with many items totaling $57,934.94. Vic, again, please.
Please stay all the way to the end. Item A is to Electric Plus, $4,975 for lighting upgrades at the Monroe plant. Item B is Mid-Valley Supply, $6,372. This is a new not-to-exceed of $10,832. That's the First Amendment to expand our scope of work to include installation of gaskets and spill buckets at Dillman wastewater plant. The third is item C, Utilize LLC for $5,000. This is predictive analysis modeling of the water distribution system. Item D is Ecologic LLC, $3,512.92. This is a new not to exceed of $26,012.92. So this amendment includes additional monitoring and maintenance of the plant life that we installed at Weimer when the dam was taken down. Item E, BBC Pump and Equipment Company. This is $6,500 for labor and seal materials for the raw inflow pump number 4 at Blucher Pool. Item F is to the City of Bloomington Public Works Department for $10,000. It's received $10,000 from Public Works for cost sharing on the street sweeping study that the board approved a few months ago. Item G is to Building Associates Incorporated, $21,797.02. This is a new not to exceed of $1,309,094.62 to extend the scope of work on the roof replacement at Dillman Road. Item H is to Control Freaks Consulting for $4,977 for installation of an activated sludge controller at Blucher Pool. Item I is to BBC Pump and Equipment Company, $4,989 for maintenance on low service pump number 4 at Monroe. And the last one, item J, Electric Plus, $9,812 for chemical building improvements at the Dillman plant. Would any of the board members wish to hear any of these items individually?
Just a clarification, on item F, shouldn't it be payment from CBU instead of payment to?
No, they paid us, the parentheses, it's a negative number. They're giving us $10,000.
Oh, I see, so
Yeah.
it's a negative 10,000.
It's negative 10,000, yes. That's what, it threw me off too.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Hearing none, if there's no opposition, the consent agenda will be approved as submitted. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Next up, we have item 5, Nancy Axum speaking to a request for approval of an agreement with KMP Hydrant Services LLC for fire hydrant maintenance and capacity testing not to exceed $130,000. Nancy.
Hello, Nancy Axum, Utilities Engineering. This is just an amendment to the original contract to add an option for a 2-year renewal without any changes to the contract. They bid under those circumstances, but when we went to renew the contract for this year, we noticed that the renewal language wasn't in the contract. So this amendment is to add that language so that the contractor has the option to renew if they so choose, which they have chosen, if you approve it.
And the renewal is at the $130,000
Same
per year
amount,
rate?
yeah. They have to agree to not make any changes. It has to be exactly the same as the first year's contract.
Other questions for Nancy? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next up, Nancy, with a request for approval of an agreement with Somo Development Company LLC for an extension of water and sewer mains.
Yes, this is somewhat similar to what we've done in the past for what we called water main installation credits. Now they're called water and sewer extension revenue allowance refunds. The IURC has added sewer to their area of oversight for these types of things. Usually we only go to them for water. But what these are is a reimbursement to the contractor, the developer, for kind of like an asset value. When they turn that main over to us, we pay back to them an amount of the revenue that we get from that for the next 3 years. That adjustment or calculation is explained in that agreement, but if you have any questions or want any clarifications, I can answer that for you.
Any questions for Nancy about the agreement? Yes, please, Jean.
In reading through the agreement, section 2.6 talks about no remonstrance against future customers. And it says the applicant and his successors and assigned shall waive all remonstrance against any future customers of the city. I was just wondering what that is.
I believe what that means is if a connection or an extension code comes along beyond what they've installed, I believe it's for that. So we're going to pay them back some revenue allowance for, in this example, there's 90 lots in this subdivision. So they will be paid back based on those 90 lots. If someone new comes along and develops a neighborhood beyond this and extends beyond it, they can't argue against that extension.
Okay.
And they won't be paid any money beyond their extension because they're getting paid for their part.
Right.
The next people will get paid for their part.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Other questions? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. Next up, we have Michelle Walden with a request for approval of an agreement with Crow LLP for test year analysis of rates and charges for their wastewater and stormwater utilities.
Hi, Missy Walden, Finance Manager. We started the process of looking into wastewater and stormwater rates for next year, and this is just an agreement for them to begin the process.
Questions for Missy? Yes.
Is this the group that we have traditionally used for this project?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
And in terms of the deliverables, I saw that it said the new rates will be based on this study. Is that one of the deliverables, the actual rates, or will that be a subsequent contract?
I believe they'll do the entire process.
Great. Other questions? I do have a motion for approval.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have a Tom Axum with a request for approval of an agreement with Potomac Electrical Services, database analyst, or DBA. What's DBA here refer to? Thank you. Electrical maintenance and testing for rehabilitation of 3 MagnaBlast breakers at Dillman Wastewater Treatment Plant, not to exceed $41,145.
Hi, Tom Axon with Operations, asking for your approval for the contract with Potomac. These MagnaBlast breakers are very large breakers that when the power first comes into the plant, that's what they go to. It's 4160 voltage, and it's very high voltage, and that's why we have to have a special crew do this. Be happy to try to answer any questions if you have any.
the reason for the replacement? Is it simply
Uh,
just
they're
age?
Just repair, yeah, it's due to age. Yeah.
So we had the big power line that had the
The one-
affected outer coating. Is this in relation to that, just to go ahead and change out the breakers as well when we're putting in the new line?
Yes, they haven't been serviced in quite some time, and that's what this is a service. So this should be done, I believe, on a 5-year cycle, 3 to 5, I think.
Other questions? Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved?
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, last item before old business is a request for approval of an MOU with Bloomington, Indiana Properties for water main replacement project. Chris Wheeler.
Yeah, hi, Chris Wheeler, City Legal, and this MOU is an effort to reach an agreement with the contractor, the developer at 1800 North Walnut Street. There were negotiations during the design phase that the developer wanted to try and keep this particular main out of Walnut Street, and the City of Bloomington Utilities agreed to do so, to let them keep it up on their property and out of the street. The problem is then they did some more design changes and ended up putting a large retaining wall, and it's significant. A large retaining wall comes out and onto that 24-inch main. So we can't allow that to happen, because at some point we'll need to get in there to do work on it, and we'll have to remove that wall, and it could cause a lot of trouble with the existing structure. So we had to have them move their main. And what they'll have to do is to put a brand-new workaround of main out in the street, so that it just stays completely out of their new construction. What we're going to have them do is continue to use the main that they did build over while they're building the new main. And then once the new main is built, they can switch over to that, and they'll use flowable fill on the existing main that's going to become the old one, and just leave it in place. That's what this MOU is trying to explain, and I'm sure that I did better in the writing than I just did in trying to tell you verbally. But I'm happy to try and answer questions if I can, or if we can ask Jane Fleeg to answer any of the important engineering questions.
Is there any cost to CDU?
None.
Just for reference point, it's at 1800 North Walnut. So is that the large complex that's going up kind of just south of the Denny's?
Yeah, I think it's Evolve or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yep.
Jean?
I'm wondering, they're paying for the cost of putting in this new kind of workaround main. And are we approving plans for that? Are we, like?
Correct, yes.
So it's-
We have oversight of the project where the infrastructure for water and sewer would be concerned. And so, yes, in this situation, there is oversight of their plans and designs. There'll be reviews of the installation while it's going in. There will be an inspection of installation at its completion, so that we can determine whether it has been put into place correctly, so that when we take it over, it's something that we're satisfied to have in our inventory.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Will the construction be completed by the end of August?
So that's part of the trick. I don't think that they were able to find the necessary parts that are going to go into the ground for the new main until after occupancy of the building begins. And that's why we had to have the nuances in the MOU that say, go ahead and use the existing main for water service in the interim, and then once you get the new main put into the street to do the workaround, we'll then do the flowable fill and switch it over.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does.
Yeah.
And when we abandon a line, do we always fill it? Is this a standard practice? I'm learning something
In a
here.
situation like this, you
Yeah.
have to do that, because otherwise we would be having to have them dig that back out and tear down that retaining wall and potentially damaging the structure. And so this is the better solution. And Jane might have more to say about that. I'm not sure. She's nodding her head like I nailed it.
You can't leave an empty pipe that's a void in a place like that. Thank you.
Yeah. We don't always flowable fill them. Sometimes we have left them, abandoned water mains in streets empty for potential future users. Communications comes to mind. This is a situation where like he said, it's underneath a retaining wall and it needs to be filled in just to be structurally sound so that there's no future issues and no finger pointing if something happens. We need to make sure that it's structural.
Thank you. And then just on the memorandum, I don't have the MOU in front of me, but it just says MOU with Monroe County. That's just a typo, right? It should be with Evolve or whatever.
That's holdover language from the last MOU
Okay.
staff report I gave you. Yes, that is
figured.
absolutely a typo.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. Okay, other questions?
That's an expensive mistake. That's all I have to say.
All right, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Next up, old business. Do we have any old business from the board? Old business from staff? New business from the board? New business from staff? Subcommittee reports? Staff reports?
Got a bunch of stuff this time. We have wastewater COVID numbers. Again, it was 250 at Blue Pool and 100 at Dillman, so both of those numbers are significantly down from where we were 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're approaching much more pleasant numbers. The second thing is that the water bonds have been successfully sold. That happened last week. We sold $17.2 million in bonds in support of capital projects in the waterworks. The sale went really well, according to all the experts that were involved in it, so we're happy about that. We close on the bonds on June 23rd, so we will be proceeding with projects this summer. Following up on something the board approved recently, the waste-to-energy contract. We had a great kickoff meeting with the team that's going to be doing that study. Solid Waste Management District Board was represented in the meeting, and I think it went really, really well. So we're very happy about that. Last Friday, I was a member of the board of the panel at the Chamber of Commerce's Future of Lake Monroe event. Holly went along for communications, and I thought that went really well. It was a good conversation. They talked about the watershed management plan that the Friends of Lake Monroe recently completed, and it was very, very well attended. So I was happy to be there, out at the point for that meeting. And then the last item is that Brandon Prince, our Assistant Director for Transmission Distribution, has left us, and James Hall is now serving as the interim as we begin the search. And that's all I have. Happy to take any questions.
So Brandon left, and you said James Hall, is he interim? Okay. And I know Laura Pettit left recently. Are we making any progress towards filling that position?
We're getting ready to re-advertise it right now. We did a search, and we're going to be doing another go-round.
Okay. And beyond, these more upper-level management positions, how are we doing just in terms of retention of our frontline staff, our T&D folks? I don't know if you can say, like, how many openings we have, and are we getting applications? Because I know it's a tough climate right now.
It really is a tough time right now. We're not getting as many applicants as we're used to seeing. In T&D, the last time I checked, we did get a new hire last week, so I think we are 7 short in T&D, 4 laborers, a line person, and 2 in meter service, I believe. But we are currently short-staffed there. The plants, we have been successful in hiring at the plants, and I believe all our operator positions are filled now. In finance, I think we still have one, well, with Laura included, we have two. Oh, and purchasing's down a couple as well. So we are, recruiting is slow. We do have some positions that are advertised as open until filled, and we get a few applications each week, but we haven't been getting a lot of qualified applicants for some of these positions.
In T&D, you said we're down 7 positions that are open, and that's, I can't remember, how many folks do we have in T&D? Is 7
It's in
out
the
of what?
It's a 60, 65 type
Okay.
overall, including meter service. Basically, we're a crew short.
Okay,
So instead of having 8 crews, we have 7 most days, which slows down projects and so forth. But we're not in a situation where emergencies are things we can't deal with. It's just
Okay.
we're, but it does slow down projects.
okay, thank you.
Is CBU involved in the Sycamore Knolls project?
I don't know if.
It's at the corner of Montclair and Arden.
I don't think we're involved, are we? Is that the stormwater project? Yeah, I guess we are if it's a stormwater project.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It looks like stormwater,
Yeah, okay.
so. They're replacing pipes.
I don't know that project in detail is, and Phil's not here. James?
Placing pipe, about 300 feet of pipe. I don't know the specifics either. They're about done, I know that.
Okay. Yeah, they're replacing about 300 feet of pipe and they're about done. We don't know, I don't know the specifics of it.
Because that corner always is a problem in terms of flooding whenever there's rain, so I didn't know whether that was involved as well.
Yeah, hopefully that won't be after the project. Yeah, I'm not real familiar with that project. Happy
Any
to
other
take
staff reports?
No.
Any other questions? Petitions and communications from anyone? Do you have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you. We are adjourned.